Like, guys, you don't.
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time?
January 2026 arrived like a quiet turning point, and Meghan Markle believed her earlier chapters were finally settled. In her mind, the old murmurs belonged to another time. The fragments would remain scattered, never aligning into a single picture. Whatever stories once circulated, she trusted they would soften and dissolve with time. She felt she had moved forward without loose ends, or at least that was the hope.
Prince, the one that's Epstein's friend.
Oh, Andrew.
Yeah.
Andrew. Yeah, that was.
What?
Yeah.
First of all, how odd is that guy when they're interviewing him and talking to him?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
The Queen kicked him to the curb.
Then Joe Rogan entered the conversation and shifted the tone entirely. Without hesitation or restraint, he revisited a period she was believed to have left far behind. There was no careful framing, no gentle pause. The discussion unfolded plainly, drawing attention to associations, exclusive social spaces, and a world she has long avoided being publicly connected to. What followed unsettled more than expected.
He's truthful about a lot of the things he says in Spare about this. Well, we want that story to die, so we're going to give you this story. However, he does it today. Him and Meghan do the same thing today. I've seen that Meghan and Harry tried to discredit certain media outlets because they don't like what they're going to say.
Joe Rogan is known for his independence. He is unmoved by titles, celebrity status, or institutional influence. When something raises questions, he follows it openly, allowing the audience to consider every angle. Behind closed doors, reports suggested a swift reaction. Advisors mobilized. Communication teams worked urgently as long-suppressed narratives resurfaced in public view.
Most influential man in the world, Time magazine should have been.
No, Meghan Markle beat me.
God. How if it's most influential, there should be there's no debate. Nobody's even in the same category as you.
I don't know. I don't think about it. I try not to. It's a little complicated.
I'm thinking about it, though.
I really shouldn't be influential.
The focus centered on accounts of a former social scene involving luxury settings and rumored proximity to influential figures, including associations linked to a once respected royal figure whose reputation has since significantly faded. For someone whose public identity has been carefully refined, this was a deeply uncomfortable spotlight. Joe Rogan's reach magnifies every conversation. His program draws an audience measured in the hundreds of millions, and when he speaks, discussion spreads rapidly across platforms. That influence is precisely why moments like this carry such weight.
So the Daily Mail Plus released this article, Why Meghan Markle's best friend, who set her up with Prince Harry, has vanished. Whatever happened to Meghan's best friend Marcus Anderson? The tall, handsome Canadian was third wheel in the early days of her romance with Prince Harry, and he was front and center at their 2018 wedding.
Rogan does not soften his tone to preserve appearances. He has spoken critically before, including remarks made in 2020 when he openly questioned Meghan's public narrative and suggested that Prince Harry was being guided toward a carefully packaged celebrity path. He once remarked, half in jest, that she would eventually move toward endorsements and carefully curated commercial ventures, a comment that later appeared more observant than playful. In 2023, Joe Rogan revisited remarks Meghan Markle had made about feeling reduced to appearances during her time on a television game show. His reaction was direct and edged with irony, questioning what expectations accompanied such a role. The delivery was cool, offering little emotional cushioning. That approach is characteristic of Rogan. So when he reportedly began revisiting long-circulating accounts about Meghan's time within luxury travel circles and tracing possible overlaps with elite social environments connected to Prince Andrew, concern reportedly followed. This was not tabloid commentary or speculative headlines. It was a widely heard independent voice revisiting old material without restraint.
If you follow Harry and Meghan, you know all about Marcus Anderson. You know that he always seems to pop up.
Rogan operates outside traditional media structures. He is not easily redirected nor guided by public relations frameworks. When a figure with his audience size begins examining historical associations, private gatherings, and tightly held social pathways, attention escalates quickly. What might have once remained obscure becomes subject to widespread scrutiny. What added depth to the discussion was that these ideas had surfaced before, quietly and without amplification. One researcher, Kirby Summers, has spent years examining elite social networks, including work connected to an unauthorized biography related to Ghislaine Maxwell. During that research, Summers has stated that Meghan may have encountered Prince Andrew years before meeting Prince Harry.
And you can imagine, since we first revealed this video on last night's show, the reaction around the world has been extraordinary. Piers Morgan posted on X.
Summers has further suggested the existence of early 2000s photographs placing Meghan at a private yachting location in Pattaya, Thailand, during a period when Andrew was reportedly present. According to these claims, such material was never circulated by major media organizations. Another name repeatedly mentioned is Marcus Anderson, known for his long-standing role within Soho House. Summers proposes that Anderson may have facilitated introductions into influential social environments, linking entertainment figures with exclusive circles.
Is this preemptive announcement about Harry's security just more of the same, or is there more to it? Now, initially, I caught the first announcement on it. Then the very first announcement of it was LBC UK. And I sort of thought, yeah, typical Harry and Meghan, here we go, preemptive announcement.
This is the thread Rogan reportedly began examining, and once attention turned toward it, the subject became difficult to overlook. The event itself had long carried a provocative reputation. One major men's magazine once described it using dramatic biblical imagery, while some past attendees informally referred to it as a highly social, fast-paced gathering centered on networking and leisure.
We're about 2 months away from the sex tape.
It's given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael. But don't try and trick me now, because I'm not going to play this game. Delete that bit. John, can you just delete it, please, that bit? Because I don't want to go down.
It was portrayed as a setting where affluent guests mixed freely within loosely defined social expectations. Whether Meghan Markle ever attended remains unconfirmed. What is documented, however, is that an invitation was extended, access was possible, and it is that detail Joe Rogan repeatedly returns to. He does not present conclusions. Instead, he asks why the same names and pathways appear again and again.
Andrew, now just Andrew. There's no coming back for him, is there? I mean, you detail a lot of it in the book. There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of, but he can't come back now, sure.
This is where Rogan's involvement alters the dynamic. When similar stories surface in tabloids, they are often dismissed as careless speculation. When mentioned by royal commentators, critics quickly label them as conjecture. But when Rogan discusses the subject on a platform reaching an estimated 200 million listeners, the response changes. His audience is accustomed to long-form questioning, not headlines. Rogan has previously navigated industry backlash, public criticism, and professional pressure without altering his approach, which has reinforced his reputation for independence.
Prince Harry wanted to make amends and come meet my dad. Wow, that's just crazy. I'll tell you right now, Prince Harry, if it has to do with anything with the Netflix crew and cameras, don't even bother. My dad's had enough crap.
So when he raises questions about historical associations involving Meghan, or about why certain intermediaries appear repeatedly within elite circles, attention sharpens. Listeners pause. Clips circulate. Conversations expand. Rogan then poses the question others tend to avoid. Why has no major media organization examined these overlaps in a sustained, transparent way? Once that question enters the public conversation, curiosity follows. His audience is known for revisiting details, sharing excerpts, and seeking broader context.
I don't think that she'll ever let Harry go, because she is so fixated on having a title that she doesn't even have or deserve anymore, right? Yeah. technically, she's not part of the royal family. On paper, on the website, Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Carefully managed public narratives can feel less settled when examined through that lens. This helps explain why several reports suggested heightened concern among Meghan's advisors once the discussion gained momentum. Not because specific claims were made, but because the questions themselves were no longer contained. Rogan operates outside traditional media leverage. He is unaffected by access arrangements or editorial conventions, and that independence is central to his influence. The discussion then turns repeatedly toward Marcus Anderson, a senior figure at Soho House. Anderson is widely acknowledged as the individual who introduced Meghan to Prince Harry. That fact is well documented. What Rogan continues to explore are the circumstances surrounding that introduction. How were those connections formed? What level of familiarity existed beforehand? And what history of access made such an introduction seem natural? Anderson's career spans more than 2 decades within exclusive social environments. Soho House functions not only as a hospitality brand, but as a carefully structured networking ecosystem, facilitating introductions through private gatherings and curated memberships. According to research discussed by Rogan, some of these networks overlap historically with figures connected to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Rogan frames this not as an accusation, but as a pattern worth examining. If Meghan had already been navigating influential circles years before meeting Harry, then her later introduction may not have been coincidental. The possibility of unverified photographs from Thailand remains one of the unanswered elements that continues to draw attention. It is this unresolved detail that keeps the discussion alive. Researcher Kirby Summers has stated that certain mainstream media organizations may already possess images allegedly showing Meghan Markle at a private yachting location in Pattaya, Thailand, alongside Prince Andrew dating back to 2001. If such material exists, the immediate question is not only what the images depict, but why they have never been made public. This is the same question Joe Rogan has raised openly. The lack of visible investigation has fueled further curiosity, particularly given the historical period involved and its broader associations within elite social circles of that era. Some fact-checking organizations have addressed images circulating online, noting that certain widely shared photographs actually feature model Alexandra Eskin, not Meghan. That clarification applies to those specific images. Summers, however, has emphasized that her claims do not relate to internet rumors or viral content. Instead, she refers to alleged unpublished material said to be held privately by established media institutions. That distinction is central to the discussion. Rogan has repeatedly highlighted it, asking why such material, if it exists, would remain unseen. Possible explanations discussed publicly include legal caution, reputational risk, and institutional reluctance when influential figures are involved. These dynamics are not unusual within high-profile reporting environments. Joe Rogan has also drawn attention to what he describes as an imbalance in public scrutiny. He questions why Meghan Markle appears insulated from the level of examination others might face under similar circumstances. That line of questioning has unsettled many observers, and it underscores why his approach is reportedly viewed as particularly frustrating by her team. Rogan is not presenting allegations, he is placing unanswered questions in front of a very large audience. Traditional media organizations have largely avoided the subject, and that absence makes Rogan's platform more impactful than conventional headlines. His discussions reach listeners directly, without editorial framing or negotiated boundaries. This presents a difficult challenge. Legal action, controlled access, and carefully guided press relationships have historically been effective tools for managing coverage. But those methods do not translate easily to Rogan's position. He operates independently within the United States, supported by significant resources and an audience unmatched in the podcasting world. Attempts to confront or restrain him publicly could amplify the very questions he raises. As a result, reports suggest that the preferred response has been restraint, silence, with the hope that attention gradually shifts elsewhere. Yet that strategy carries its own risk. When one voice continues revisiting the same questions without a counterpoint, listeners are left with a single narrative to consider. According to sources familiar with the situation, this has created deep frustration behind the scenes. Engaging directly risks extending the conversation. Ignoring it does not prevent Rogan from returning to the topic. Either option presents complications. The focus then shifts to Prince Harry and the position he occupies within this unfolding discussion. Joe Rogan has previously spoken critically about him, questioning the nature of his relationship and suggesting that ambition may have played a role alongside emotion. If renewed attention around past associations were ever to reach broader acceptance, Harry's carefully shaped public image would face new strain. In that scenario, the questions alone would carry weight. The idea that Meghan may have moved within elite social environments connected to Prince Andrew before meeting Harry reframes the story many have come to accept. Rogan presents this not as a conclusion, but as a hypothetical that invites reflection. Whether audiences accept it or not, the impact lies in the uncertainty it introduces. Once raised, such questions tend to linger. Rogan has placed them before an audience approaching 200 million listeners, allowing them to circulate widely. Harry, by contrast, has limited room to respond. Proving the absence of past encounters is difficult, and long-standing social connections involving Marcus Anderson are not easily dismissed. Reports suggest this has added quiet tension behind the scenes. It has also revived speculation about whether senior royals, including Prince William and King Charles III, may have approached the relationship with caution early on. The storyline increasingly centers on a woman moving deliberately through elite social environments, ultimately forming relationships that reshaped her public life through the Soho House network. This is where Joe Rogan narrows his focus. While mainstream outlets rarely examine Soho House in detail, Rogan does, largely because of its long-standing reputation as a discreet gathering place for wealthy and influential figures. One frequently mentioned name is Ron Burkle, a high-profile investor reportedly affiliated with the club since the early 2000s. His name has surfaced in past public discussions about overlapping social environments among powerful circles. Rogan references these overlaps not as conclusions, but as context, drawing attention to how closely connected these worlds can be. Discretion is central to Soho House's identity. The absence of cameras, recordings, or public documentation is intentional. Privacy is not incidental, it is foundational. Members are drawn to spaces where conversations and introductions remain unseen, allowing influence to circulate quietly and efficiently. When Rogan begins asking what kinds of relationships were formed within those private rooms, what professional or social networking took place, and whether Marcus Anderson played a guiding role in connecting ambitious individuals with established figures, the discussion becomes more complex. Soho House openly acknowledges that facilitating connections is core to its purpose. That reality makes Rogan's questions difficult to deflect. At the same time, examining Anderson's role too closely risks exposing the inner mechanics of the entire organization. His work has involved building connections for decades, and any scrutiny of those practices naturally extends beyond a single individual. Rogan's approach places Soho House in a quiet dilemma. Defending those involved invites further attention. Remaining silent allows curiosity to grow. Either path brings renewed focus to a system built on discretion. Then, Joe Rogan entered the conversation, and the scale of attention shifted dramatically. Ideas that once lingered on the margins were suddenly reaching an audience counted in the hundreds of millions. Discussed repeatedly on the world's most widely followed podcast, they were no longer easily dismissed or overlooked. Over time, Rogan has returned to the subject, revisiting the same themes and questions rather than allowing them to fade. He has openly wondered whether Meghan Markle has shared her full personal narrative. These questions align closely with earlier discussions he has raised, reinforcing a broader line of inquiry he has maintained for years. That consistency is what complicates the situation. Silence can be interpreted as avoidance, while engagement risks extending the discussion further. Rogan frames this dynamic as an imbalance. He can continue asking follow-up questions without constraint, while meaningful responses are difficult to offer without introducing new complexities. It is a position he appears keenly aware of, which explains why he continues returning to the same unresolved points. According to reports, Meghan's advisors have found these recurring questions particularly challenging, not because definitive claims are being made, but because the questions themselves remain unanswered. Why was an invitation extended to Yacht Week in 2016 if she was not connected to those social environments? Why did Marcus Anderson hold such consistent influence within her professional and personal circles? How did her lifestyle at the time align with the opportunities publicly known? Rogan has also asked why she appeared at highly exclusive gatherings alongside wealthy and influential figures and what her relationship was with Ron Burkle. Most persistently, he continues to ask whether she had encountered Prince Andrew prior to meeting Prince Harry. There is a clear sense that she would prefer this chapter to remain closed. By most accounts, Meghan Markle has invested significant effort in moving beyond earlier periods of her life. Joe Rogan has been careful to clarify that he is not presenting definitive claims about her past. Instead, he outlines observable connections and pauses, leaving space for explanation. That pause is intentional. It is a method built on restraint. Rather than instructing his audience what to believe, Rogan presents patterns and invites reflection. When people arrive at conclusions independently, those ideas tend to settle more deeply. With an audience approaching 200 million listeners, that effect is amplified. Rogan shows no indication of retreating from the discussion. His platform offers scale, influence, and independence unmatched in modern media. According to reports, Meghan's advisors have limited options. They cannot redirect the conversation, nor easily diminish its reach. When a single voice consistently reaches more people than many established news organizations combined, traditional strategies lose effectiveness. As a result, topics once confined to quiet corners are now discussed openly. Questions surrounding past social environments, possible overlaps with Prince Andrew, and the networking role of Marcus Anderson have entered broader public awareness. None are framed as conclusions, yet all are examined repeatedly. Observers suggest this has placed visible strain on a carefully managed public narrative. When unresolved questions are asked publicly and consistently, there is no simple way to reverse their momentum. Curiosity, once sparked, rarely disappears on command. At this stage, the discussion extends beyond the accuracy of any single rumor. The larger issue is the endurance of the questions themselves. Rogan did not present answers, he opened a conversation. And once that conversation reaches millions, sustained by repetition rather than resolution, it tends to remain present, unresolved, and quietly persistent. If this analysis gave you a new perspective, feel free to share your thoughts below. And if you value calm, in-depth examinations like this, consider subscribing. We'll continue exploring the stories that shape public narratives with clarity, context, and time to think. We'll see you in the next one.